half of women.
Oh, you mean like
Yeah.
settling for an average?
Like getting an average guy.
An average.
I think a lot of
80% of women want 20% of the men. So if you ask 80% of women what they want in a guy, they list 20% of men. So the men that we want, there's just not enough to go around.
Yeah, they do the
So
same.
Sorry.
So we always
settle all the time.
So we always talk about like never settle, but we just end up alone.
No, I think a lot of women settle. Maybe that's not obvious to people, but a lot of women are settling.
I think,
and because we have so much pressure in society that you can't be alone, that you can't be happy and alone, or you can't. Do you know what I mean? That you don't have a fulfilling life if you don't have children, and that is a problem.
Well, but
like
it's not a problem.
society's viewpoint needs to change. But no, because the thing is, if you choose to have a relationship and be in the scenario that you're talking about with full honesty, that's one thing. That's okay. Do you know what I mean? But if you're choosing not to, that should also be okay. You shouldn't be victimized or demonized because you choose something different.
It's not that you're demonized though. Like
I think it is.
But because one, I see propaganda all the time talking about how like women over 40 are super happy. Like I see this all the time. Like, oh, it's okay to be alone, never settle. Da da da. Like I see the opposite propaganda, honestly. And on top of that, like women 45 single and childless are the least happy demographic.
I just don't know how you prove that.
No, because they survey people.
Like who?
They survey, and this is what I mean. Like
I know like what you're saying, but it just seems so general, and it just seems like I just like pulling.
We're
these
biologically
surveys out of the
programmed to
sky.
want children.
Yeah, I
Like,
would.
Not everybody.
You're right. Not everybody is, but the majority of us are. And typically, when I see a woman that doesn't want kids, like she somehow was hurt in the past, and that's why she doesn't.
Yeah,
Is like typically what I see.
start out. I think every woman starts her life out wanting a family and
But I
kids,
think-
and then at some point, society gets in her head, or bad experiences get in her head, and that warps that.
The woman
that
that says she
happens
doesn't want
first.
kids is just as much of an outlier as the man that says he doesn't want to cheat.
Bingo. Hold on.
Mic drop.
You're very funny.
No, I'm right. No, I'm absolutely right, and you have nothing to say to it. I'm right. You're wrong. It's true.
I don't agree with the fact that.
No, it doesn't feel good. It's a fact.
It's not even a fact
It's
because
not about how
speaking
it
to
feels.
It's a fact.
It really isn't about how it feels. It's just like having a lived experience and having people around that have actually gone through this, and this is their experience, and them not being these mythical women that you think they are. Do you know what I mean?
So 65. You're 65.
Yeah.
And you're going to live another 20, 30, like let's say you live to 90. You're going to be happy, no family, nothing, just by yourself with a career.
So you're saying no family as in no kids of your own?
Yeah, no kids, no husband.
Okay, cool.
Deathbed
but that
by
doesn't mean
yourself.
you don't have friends. It doesn't mean that you don't have family around you. It doesn't mean that
godchildren,
you're not an
nieces,
aunt.
nephews.
Do you know what I mean? So there are other ways to find happiness, and I think that is okay. And I just don't like the fact that it's pushed that it's not okay, and then for women to be pushed into relationships that they're not happy in, and they're not going to be fulfilled in, and like, do you know what I mean? I just think it just needs to be equal and level.
But I don't.
and free and
What
fair.
I'm not saying is it's not okay. I think people can, if you want to do that, if like people want to do that, do it. But what I think is dishonest is lying to women and telling them you're going to be happy without a husband and without a family at 65. Because if we take sample sizes, we survey women that are single, childless at 65 in different cities across the country, it comes with the same result. They're the least happy. And so you can say, oh, I don't believe the data, but like how much, like, I understand maybe you don't believe me. Maybe like that's another thing. But like how much evidence do you need if people themselves are saying I am the least happy demographic when they are surveyed?
I would need to see the data.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a comment on the data as well. I took this Yale University course on happiness, and they did a study, and they found that your happiness level is gonna be up 2 years when you get married, and then it's gonna go down to the same level when you are single.
Well, honeymoon period, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
right.
So
Which is also biological.
Yes.
Yeah.
To make sure the kid makes it.
Yes.
Bingo.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's gonna
Interesting.
keep the pregnant woman alive and make sure the baby gets through infancy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's about 18 months.
And that's why they say also if you're dating a girl and then you don't have kids. So why a lot of relationships sort of split after about 2 years, 3 years, is because if you haven't produced a child, then sort of biologically, internally, the woman and the man probably are like, well, this
What's
is
the point?
Yeah,
What's the point?
exactly,
Yep.
exactly.
Right.
There's nothing
Yeah.
bonding them together.
Yeah,
Other-
it's just
Right. In other mammals, like giraffes, they have the baby and the baby pops out and can walk.
Yeah.
But that's not like that with a human baby.
We're different.
Yeah, it's different.
That thing is useless for 2 years. Can't even walk.
Well,
No, I mean, it's
in no way
defenseless.
independent. Yeah, defenseless. Yeah.
Is a better way of saying it.
I don't get what you guys are saying, because more people are in like long relationships and
Like getting
don't generally
engaged
get
after
married.
10
and
years.
yeah, it's like I don't see how the stats
because-
would stack up to this 2-year thing when there are loads more people living together
Honest question, though.
for longer.
How many like long-term married couples do you know that are like super? No, but that are super happy.
Who you should really be asking me is, how many people do I know that are super happy?
That's not what I'm asking you. Though.
But that would be couples, it goes up and down. How many couples do I know that have been in long-term relationships? Quite a few.
But of those, how many of them are happy as happy as I am?
So I have 8 friends who have been in a relationship as long as me and my husband, 20 years.
Cool.
Congratulations, by the way. That's fucking
that's
incredible.
actually amazing.
That's
And
awesome.
only one of them has just got divorced. And we all kind of got together.
I didn't say if they're divorced.
No, I'm saying only, but all of us are as happy as the next human next door. It's like you go up and down.
No
but
one's
we're
as happy as
happy.
Sterling Cooper, the happiest man.
But we're happy
always having a
in
good
our
time.
unions, or we
Yeah.
would get divorced.
No, and that's great.
And that's the thing.
But
And so there's quite a few if you're in that vortex. If you're not, you're going to see the opposite.
I don't think that people will immediately divorce if they're unhappy in a relationship.
Well, I think it would be stupid.
I agree.
If somebody
It would be
came
stupid.
to
It
me
would be
and
stupid.
was like,
But-
I'm really unhappy in my marriage, I want to get a divorce, I'd be like, no, that's not the step you take.
Clever.
There are loads of
Correct.
things that you work on, because happiness goes up and down. It's a scale. It's just lots of things will make you happy.
You
What
sound
you
like
really
you-
want is contentment, and you want to be secure,
Fulfillment.
and you want to have a super objective for your life.
Aha.
And if the person works with that and you can fulfill that, that's where you want to be, because happiness is fleeting.
You know
It's
what
a
the
state.
best, the best super objective is?
Children.
Kids.
They can't be the only thing, because
But it is
obviously
the
they're
best
autonomous
example.
and they grow up and they'll leave you.
Well, that is the best example of a super.
Yeah, well, it's
It's
one
at
of
least
them.
18 years.
It's one of them. It's one to have. It's one to have to keep you bonded to.
Yeah,
but
certainly
then
what
your
you do
super
together.
objective doesn't necessarily have to be having the child. It should really be more of the type of human that you actually want to co-create and actually build to be significant and productive in society. And that would be your super objective. It's not to just have the baby, because you could have the child
Oh,
and
God,
they're
yeah.
bloody hard work.
Make
and you don't
the
sleep.
child a killer. Make the child amazing. I agree with that.
That's it.
Totally
And that
agree
can
with
be
that.
that can be your objective for 20 years.
I know that's my
and then
objective. I know
maybe
that's
you
my
can,
objective.
you can change again, because we live so long now, and then you can be like, we've done what we set out to do for
lot of-
our 25 years, and maybe me and you can just be brethren and we can move on again.
Or we redirect that energy again.
That's it, if it
to,
works.
To
Grandkids.
our kids.
Yeah.
And that's called
And then we can be
family.
effective grandparents, and you
Bingo.
keep on going that way.
And that's called legacy too.
The other,
Those are the
we were
ones.
talking about women that are single and childless over a certain age. The other issue with that is that there's a large proportion of women that will be on the streets because they don't have the 2.5 million that they need to retire.
2.5 million.
Yeah, you need 2.5
What?
million to
In the
retire.
UK? Or
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a U.S. stat. I forget about that. I forget that the structure is different
What do
here.
you mean? I mean, we have pension. Where
Well,
is
but
this
the
figure?
idea is that, in the U.S., the idea is that a lot of the government handouts are going to run out because it's just not sustainable long term.
We kind of have that here
And-
too.
Yeah. So when the day that comes when they actually have to stop giving government handouts, there's a lot of women that are going to be on the streets because we own 80% of consumer debt. Yeah.
goddamn.
Yeah. So
Yeah, including college debt.
yeah, and college debt is
Yeah.
the biggest. I mean, that's a U.S. issue here. I think the school is free, but
no, you still have
it's not.
that,
We
but
still
you don't pay it. You don't pay it back unless you reach a certain level of income.
Yeah, you
Oh,
don't
okay.
have to.
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's actually
And it
good.
cuts out at 65 or something
Does
like
it?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It's a 30-year debt.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I don't know all the laws.
Just play
No,
devil's
no, it's fine.
play devil's advocate on that point a little bit though. Should somebody therefore say, oh well, in case I end up on the street and I haven't got 2.5 million when I'm 65, I should therefore shack out with the dude that
I would.
And
I mean, shit.
Yeah, hey, but let's be completely clear.
would be certain.
Everybody in this room would. Every one of you ladies would, because you'd have no choice. And that's the way it was before all this bullshit
Oh, yeah, I was
started
just about to
happening.
say, so we'd just go back to the 50s where you're literally,
No,
literally
1800s.
up
Like,
Well, no, it wasn't
like
that
way
long
back.
ago when you needed to be married to just have a bank account. So you'd be in your old age and you'd be like, okay, I'm going to shack up with Winston down the road. And so then I
What's wrong with
can
Winston?
survive.
Winston's great.
Is he a Chad?
a little ramen
But
noodles, some
also, does
Netflix,
that
and might
not
have
go
sex.
counterproductive to the whole woman being an independent woman, and so that's why she hasn't set her sights out to be married? Would she not have been stacking her peas so she would be okay at 65? Probably better than other people in marriages.
No. Like the average income of I don't know what it is here, but I know it's similar. So in the U.S., the average income of a woman is around $35,000. So she doesn't have enough money to stack her peas and be the independent woman. If you look at the numbers, like what % of women are making six figures, it's not a very high amount.
Yeah.
It's less than 10.
I would like to see it in relation to single women who are over 40 and how much money they are earning. But in that 25 years, that how many of them would be the ones that would be homeless? I would say that it's probably not going to be that high. There may be some. I mean, whatever happens. But again, people aren't familyless. Like they do have relatives, they do have siblings. There are other people that are in their family. I don't think there'll be that many people.
But the thing is, like, women are the biggest growing homeless population. So it's happening. You could say like, oh, I don't think that many of them it'll happen to, but if 50% of women over 30 are single and childless, that's a very big percentage of the population.
Those are interesting ways of saying stats, though, because whenever you say growing, it's like when people say like mixed race children are the biggest growing ethnicity in the UK. They are still like literally like 0.2%. So growing doesn't mean that we should be like, oh, it's going to happen. It's just maybe there's more than there was before.
I know there's more stats that I'm bringing to you. Like I'm telling you that 50% of the population is single and childless. You need 2.5 million to retire, and on top of that, the average income of a woman is $35,000 per year, it's between 35 and 45. It's around there a year in the United States, and it's similar here. So, and on top of that, the biggest growing homeless population is single childless women. So it's like all of those numbers together show that that's like the single modern women. That's not a good look for them. I don't even want to say look. It's not good outcomes.
Or the outcomes that were there before when you were settling for a man and getting beaten up and were thoroughly unhappy and having loads of kids and you didn't have any choices to do that. So I'm just saying that we're doing sweeping statements, so I'm offering another counter to that.
No, I know, but
maybe
like, what evidence
this is
do you
the
have
shift
that,
of realities.
But what evidence do you have that women were being beat? Like, do you think the majority of men were beating up women in the 1950s?
No. That wasn't the majority, but there was a large amount, and you also didn't have the means, the capacity, or the societal support to leave. So you stayed in relationships because that's what you had to do. Now that's shifting now. So you don't have to be in a relationship. So maybe the offshoot of that is that some people are not going to be in a relationship. They would have lived their life. They would have spent their money how they were going to spend their money. And they may have loads of debt. But that could just be a consequence of freedom. Cool. Some people would decide, I want to be free, then have to be bonded to an average man.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I would also add to what you're saying is, maybe you're right, but the reason she is right is because Big Daddy government has stepped in and given women this other way. They're going to give them all these jobs. But what she's saying is because they only make $35,000 a year, because they don't have the 2.5 million, because we are running out, the ball's about to drop on that.
What would you do if, let's just say tomorrow, an EMP drops on the whole world, an electromagnetic pulse, internet's gone, all computers are gone, we're back to the Stone Age.
Right.
What would you do then? Would you? Okay. And some guy who's average comes along is like, I want to marry you and put a baby in you and raise a family with you. And we've got this farmland. We're going to grow crops.
By the way, I can hunt.
By the way, I can shoot a gun and hunt a deer.
Yeah.
I've
sorry, you're not good looking enough.
No, I'm not on it. Like all of that, like massive changes, it's cool. I can go with the smash and leave here. I'm too old. Go and find someone younger.
Okay, so it's a product of the times, really.
Yeah.
Like the situation we find ourselves in right now is a product of the times we're in, which is this, like Justin just said, this kind of nanny state, right? The government is, most people are suckling on the teat of government in some way, shape or form, right? Or they're being parasitized by the government. If you're actually producing money and you're being parasitized, the taxes are massive, right? I mean, we don't live in this country, but we live in a different country, and we know that's the case. So we find ourselves in this really unique time in history where men and women are being put in a combative situation rather than a complementary one. We're naturally complementary to each other. We're supposed to be together.
Well, we take away the consequence. So like before, if you were single and alone, you'd be homeless, and now there's no consequence for that because the government's bailing people out.